Welcome, everyone. Free Spirit Fabrics here. We are here to share our Year of the Designer. We are going to be talking about the collections that are shipping in March of 2026. And we're going to be talking about 4 of our artists that we already have and 1 new artist. And we have wonderful designs to share with you. I'm Sharon Thornton, and I will be talking about the inspiration. And Debbie Stark is also with us, and she is going to be talking about the collections, the designer, and all of the designs. So our first one is Debbie.
Forage by Martha Negley. Ephemeral, parasitic, delicious, or deadly? Mushrooms are a fascinating subject. Years ago, Martha foraged for the wonderful morels here in the Midwest. She waited until mid-April for a good rain to head to the woods. Thinking she might branch out to other varieties, she took a mushroom identification class and quickly learned that most had lookalikes that were definitely inedible. She now hunts farmers markets and sources cultivated varieties in grocery stores only. Forage is a collection ranging from the wild, poisonous toadstools to the delicious morels and more. And as Sharon said, this collection will ship in March, and it is just dynamic. Look at the use of color from the toadstool design in the upper left-hand corner with the luscious red toadstool on that beautiful blue ground. Below it is enoki, which I think is just such a fragile and delicate looking mushroom. To the right of that is chanterelle. As we move to the next column, we've got the mushroom medley. And here you've got some of those red toadstools mixed in with the enoki and the chanterelles, and it is really just luscious. It's an explosion of color. Below that, we have a smaller scale of the small toadstools. And to the right of that, we've got oyster mushroom, which just feels very pearl-like with that beautiful plum and purple coloration outlining the designs. In the next column, we have mushroom mix. Below that, we have morels, which to me actually look like almost little trees, but it's just really a beautiful coloration, feels very autumnal. Below that is button mushroom. And then in our last column, we've got forest on that beautiful textured, really rich, almost plummy Bordeaux sort of colorway. Below that, we've got turkey tail, which is another explosion of those beautiful, cool colors. And to the right, we have fungi. We just think Martha has the most incredible sense of color. And I know Kay Fassett has certainly always recognized her use of color and is always so excited to see her latest designs. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Sharon to talk about inspiration.
Okay, so agree, Debbie. This is a beautiful collection. Martha always does such a nice job. This one is Mushroom Medley, and this is designed by Stacy Day. And we love this one because we took all of the fabrics, these are mushrooms. I mean, if you look closely, you can see that these are mushrooms. The mushroom caps use the fabrics from the collection, and then the bottoms are, what you would find is a white underneath any mushroom. This quilt, you could make this as is. It's not too big, 65 by 65. I mean, it's a nice size. It could be a throw. If you wanted to, you could scale this down. You could make it narrower. You could make it a wall hanging. You could use some of those blocks. You could make placemats. You could do a table runner. There's all different things that you could take this design of this literal interpretation of the mushroom and make this piece or other pieces that would be a lot of fun, to use in this collection. And the next quilt is called Truffle Kernuffle. And this one is also designed by Stacy Day. So this one's just a little bit different from the first. It's not, a little literal translation of how, you might want to use the collection. This one's really just showing how beautifully all of the colors and designs work together. If you wanted to work them into a quilt like this or a different type of quilt that you're working on, how all the colors, that one design that's around those center blocks that are on point. I mean, it just looks like a piece of lace. It's just really beautiful. And so we really just, thought that this was another way where you could see how the fabrics of this collection work so well together. And the other thing I'd like to remind everybody about is, you could do aprons, like be thinking kitchen, be thinking, a lot of, ways that you would use fabric in the kitchen. This would be a great collection for that use, for yourself, for your friends, for gift giving, etc.
The next collection is called City of Dreams by Monika Forsberg. Monika has lived in London since 1995. It's one of the greatest and greenest cities in the world. There is a constant buzz of life. Wherever you turn, you'll find a tree-lined street, plants bursting from a front garden, or flowers spilling out of a hanging basket outside a pub, forever changing and growing towards the light. There are many little well-maintained parks and squares, as well as wilder fields and forests. The air smells of bloom, of dirt, and of life. This is a beautiful digital collection we're producing for Monika, which will ship in March. And it's super whimsical. It's really fun. It's very colorful. And I love the variation in scale in this particular collection. It's 12 SKUs, and we're going to start in the upper left-hand corner with Primrose, which is just this very almost geometric-like flower garden. To the right of that, we've got Cambridge Circus, which is definitely a more geometric, almost kaleidoscope design. Below that, we have Muswell Hill, just a beautiful floral. You can see the large scale design there. Below that is Birch Lane on that really fun little, I'm going to call it non-plaid plaid. And to the right of that, we've got Morning Crescent, just a really dainty little flower. In the next column, we've got Angel. So it's that branchy, leafy, tree-like design on that beautiful blue ground. To the right of that, we've got Parkland Walk. And below that, we've got Holland Park with the peacocks. I think the peacocks are just so fun and whimsical. And again, the scale is bigger. You could do some fussy cutting there and do some applique with those peacocks. To the right of that, we've got Seven Dials, which almost feels like the map or some city streets looking from above. Below that, we've got Old Street, which are those darling little ladybugs on that polka dot ground. To the right, we've got Soho Square, which is really funny with the little pops of color, but it almost reminds me of bamboo. And below that, we've got Hackney Central, just a really beautiful, rich, saturated floral on that beautiful black ground. Really stunning, very whimsical, and very much in Monika Forsberg's fashion.
Okay, so the first quilt is called Mod Box Quilt, and this is designed by Linda and Carl Sullivan of Colorworks. And we like this quilt because you can see the collection. It's very cohesive. It works very nicely together. And then it's offset with the cream background, which really shows off all of the fabrics. So you can, place any of these fabrics where you'd like in this quilt. It felt like a more modern quilt, and this quilt used, most of all of the SKUs from the collection. And, it has just a really pretty border, a binding on this quilt that just really sets the whole thing off, and pulls it together, so it's cut on the bias, and then, just pulls the whole center of that quilt all together with that. So we just thought that that was a very pretty quilt, more modern, and loved the use of all the fabrics. And the next quilt is called Durango quilt, and this is a Villa Rosa quilt, completely different than the first one. This one, just, cut up all the blocks. You can arrange and rearrange these wherever you'd like into this particular quilt. What's really pulling this all together are all those navy blue, squares in the center there. But again, arrange this quilt, rearrange it. You can do whatever you want with this. And we just thought this was a fun piece that you could work up very quickly. It's a 56 by 70-inch quilt.
Well, what I think is so cute about this quilt is that you utilize that very center block of Soho Square in the center of each one of these blocks, but it was actually the binding on the last quilt on the
Right,
box.
right.
So really interesting, very diverse uses of that SKU, but it's a great SKU.
It is. They all are. Look how fun they are.
And next we've got Pop Cloth by So Kind of Wonderful. The influence of pop art on the quilting community is a fascinating intersection of modern art and traditional craft. Pop art's bold imagery, vibrant colors, and focus on everyday objects have inspired quilters to break from convention and experiment with designs that push the boundaries of traditional quilting aesthetics. Pop cloth is a mashup of modern colors and subtle textures that are heavily influenced by the pop culture that we are immersed in. Jenny and Helen love to play with traditional quilting blocks and techniques and give them a modern twist. They have taken the same approach with popcloth and used it in a variety of inspirational quilt designs that are sure to get your creative juices flowing. We're going to start with the upper left-hand corner again. And the first design that we're looking at is called Movement. And I love the play on color there. It really is kind of a no print. The design sort of falls into the background a little bit, but it's got this great little geometric triangle. It's got some really soft flowing lines with little floral outlines. Super adorable. To the right of that, we've got Portrait, which is actually a little outline image of a woman's face with a little sort of bouquet on her head. It's absolutely darling. Below that, we've got Life in that really beautiful, rich, autumnal, orange, burnished sort of color. And it's a little flower motif in between each block. And then there are just some grid lines. Below that, we've got Circles, which are absolutely terrific. They're just little circles of almost little pick stitch-like designs. Really precious. And to the right of that, we have a very traditional dot. In the next column, we've got Vivid on that really saturated, beautiful sort of eggplanty purple. To the right of that, we've got Punk, which is a lovely little leafy design that meanders throughout the pattern. Below that, we have Fusion, and then to the right of that, we have Dance. And Dance is actually the same design elements used in Movement in the upper left, but on a totally different ground, and you can see how much more the actual design elements pop because of the color choices. And then in the last column, we've got Flower, which is just a really sweet floral design, which is very reminiscent of one of their quilting patterns. To the right of that, we've got Indie. It's almost like a little microchip design, creating an additional houndstooth design. Really, really adorable. And that use of color really is going to be a great pop for your quilts. Below that, we've got the tonal diamond pattern. Below that, we've got Hop, which is on a beautiful colorway, and it's called Soul. And then it's really hard to tell in the PowerPoint presentation, but the last design is called Minimal. And it's really a tone on tone charcoal black combination. Super, super useful. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sharon.
Great. So Helen and Jenny designed all of the quilts that we're going to show you. They have many other quilts besides these, but this first one is the Maud Owl Revival. They have this pattern out there already, and what they did is they added the flying geese to this one. So I just think it's really cool. I love how, that's the revival of this one, is adding the flying geese in with the owls. But it's a really fun quilt. You can see how well the collection works together and plays together here. And that last SKU that Debbie was talking about called Minimal, that is used in the background. And it does have a design on it, but like Debbie said, it's very hard to see in these virtual images, but it's really, really beautiful. You'll make great use of that SKU in addition to all of the other wonderful, playful colors in this collection. And then the next quilt is Breezeway Quilt. And now you can see this one where their complements fabrics are used in the background of this. They have a collection that's called complements. So they're, all low volume, and that's in the background of this quilt. And then they've got, this collection, pop cloth is, the main focus with all that beautiful color. Just a flip from the beginning, from the first one where you had the dark background. Now you've got the light, but you can see how all these colors work really beautifully together. And now the last one that we're showing here is Auntie Iris quilt. And this particular block is one that they had used in a previous quilt, and they changed it just a little bit and renamed it. But look at this beautiful presentation of an iris flower in a so kind of wonderful way, and all of those colors, and again using that minimal fabric in the background. Again, it reads like it's a solid, but it's not. All of these SKUs have a lot of texture and a lot of depth to them, and I think that you would love to add all of these to your assortment of fabrics.
The next collection we're going to talk about is The Wisdom by Valori Wells. The Wisdom fabric collection emerged from months spent in the solitude of her studio, painting larger than life crows. Those were nights illuminated by moonlight, filled with music, movement, tears, and brushstrokes. A journey of raw creativity and self discovery, free from the weight of outside opinions. In the stillness, away from the world's noise, Val found a sacred space for inner peace and reflection. Through moments of grief and sadness, softened by the rhythm of the paint. Yet within this experience, there was also hope and joy, a quiet light that grew stronger with every stroke. It was in this process that Valori found a renewed love for herself and a deep sense of belonging within her own being, making this collection a testament to the beauty of solitude and the resilience of the human spirit. Wow. What do you say after that? Wow.
Mm.
The Wisdom by Valori Wells. So I have to say I had the privilege of speaking to her during this process, and we would Zoom and she would show me the paintings of these crows, and they blow your mind. First of all, they're big, they're larger than life. So I'm so thrilled she shared a part of that with us and with the quilting community at large and her loyal followers. She is such an inspiration. The collection is really stunning. Obviously, in the very center of the page, that's the premise for the entire collection. That's one of the crows that was on a huge canvas. This is called The Studio, and actually she wrote all about the process, and that writing sits behind the crow and all the other woodblock stamps that she did to build this ongoing design that has no real cut place. Like you could just buy a big piece of this and outline quilt it, and it would be absolutely stunning. So I'm going to talk about each piece a little more individually. So when we go to the upper left-hand corner, we have the Whispers, which is on this beautiful, I mean, we know Belle's color palette, super beautiful pinks to the reds and oranges. So the really warm colors transitioning all the way into the beautiful blues and cool colorways of aqua and teal. To the right of the Whispers is the shiny things, and those are the diamonds and crystals and all the really interesting things that came throughout this process. And remember, every piece in this collection, she hand carved wood blocks or she hand carved blocks and actually did the printing on really beautiful substrates and different textures. So we did everything we could to recreate the original pieces of artwork. Below that, we've got the Gathering. So this is a myriad of the crows she painted. Between that and the sunflowers, sitting on a sort of tossed, very neutral ground diamond pattern. Below that, we've got the Ring in the really warm color palette, highlighting the purples, the fuchsias, the reds, the oranges. And then to the right of that, we've got the Whispers again. The Whispers are sort of your no print prints, your solids to make the entire quilt pop. So you'll see those in various colorways as we move across the page. In the next column, we've got the Sweet Summer Sun, a beautiful, very iconic Valori Wells design. Those gorgeous sunflowers, which she's so well known for, printed on top of other woodblock designs of the floating diamonds, the ring pattern behind it, just really very stunning. Again, you could fussy cut any of those large head sunflowers and applique them. Really beautiful. Below that is the View, which is sort of these tree trunks and branches with the crows sitting on top of it in just a really 2-color, 3-color beautiful print. In the next column, we've got the Diamond, which is a smaller scale design of the ring and very, very neutral. To the right of that, we've got the Shiny Things again on that really rich saturated black colorway to kind of highlight the crows. We talked about the design in the center called the Studio. As we move to the next column, the sunflowers. So we've got a smaller scale design of the sunflowers. The layout is slightly different, but it's in that really beautiful, soft, cool color palette. And you'll notice the diamonds in the background really pop because they're almost like this opaque white. Below that is actually the statement. She hand wrote the entire statement for the premise of this collection, and we decided to print it as a beautiful keepsake for the collection and as a way to use a no print print in the background. It's really low volume, it's super beautiful, and I know everybody loves the story and everybody loves handwriting, so it's really unique and just highlights the collection. Below that, we've got the Gathering again, but this is in a really beautiful, cool color palette. So we transitioned it all to really beautiful indigo and soft, cool blue. And in the last column, we've got another sort of no print, the Whispers. It's her feather block print on that really beautiful tealy turquoise color. To the right of that, we've got Shiny Things again on that soft bluish gray ground. Below that is the trees. So it's a larger version of the view that we talked about in neutral, but this is all on that indigo, highlighting the crows in sort of this shadow-like gray colorway, and then the branches and the trunks of the trees in a really soft white. Below that, we've got the ring in the cool colorway. And last but not least, we've got the Whispers in a deeper, more muted blue coloration. And with that, we're going to share with you some incredible inspiration for the collection.
Yes, it's a beautiful collection, as Debbie just said. And this first quilt here and the next ones we're going to show you are all designed by Valori Wells. So this one is called the Shine Quilt. And I mean, look at this. I mean, she does a beautiful job with all of these diamonds. She's fussy cut some of those crows to sit in there so nicely. I personally just love all of those sunflowers, whether it be in the blue or the darker colorway of the sunflowers or even the pink. They're really just beautiful. I love all of this. You know, she's got the hots and the cools working in this, and this quilt just works. I mean, with the black in it, it settles it down, and then with all of the, you know, hots and cools, it brings it up, and then you've got the cream in there. I mean, all of this is just working so beautifully together. And this pattern will be available at Stitch and Post when the collection ships. The next two quilts are designed by Val as well. This is called the Nest, and the one on the left is the warm version of the Nest, and the one on the right is the indigo version of the Nest. Both of these quilts are pieced. But what we love about showing two quilts, the same quilt, but just done differently, is this is the exact same quilt and they both look so different. Okay. It's just the placement of the color, where you're going to put the color, and, you know, how does it work? So, you know, the one on the left is primarily focusing on, you know, the creams and the dark and just that hot pink. And then the one on the right is really just focusing on most of the blues, and you still have the cream in there. But exact same quilt, two entirely different presentations. You know, you might love the blue one, but you might know someone that absolutely loves blacks and hot pinks, and there's your quilt. Great collection. Again, you've got the birds, you get the sunflowers, you get all kinds of things going on here. Wonderful color, and this is a great collection. We have a lot of other inspiration for this collection, which you can find on the website as the other ones that we have as well. You could be looking at this collection for the quilts, but you could also be looking at it for home deck. This would be a lot of fun for people that are bird watchers or gardeners. You know, there's a lot that you could do with this. So just let your mind take you there and you can make wonderful things.
And now we welcome our new artist for our March delivery, and it's Helen Pryor. Helen is a British-born ceramist and textile designer based in the Hudson Valley, New York. Passionate about creating ceramics, textiles, and wallpapers for the home, her work seamlessly blends artistry with functionality. Deeply inspired by the natural world and through her signature approach, she crafts rhythmic, intricate patterns by etching fine lines and pressing found objects into clay, later transforming these designs into vibrant and expressive fabric patterns. In addition to her home decor collections, Helen is celebrated in the fashion industry for her textiles. Over the past 20 years, she's collaborated with renowned designers, creating fabrics that have made a lasting impact on the fashion world. Her love of textiles began in childhood, making patchwork with her mother, a formative experience that now comes full circle as she designs prints for the quilting community, bringing her journey with fabric back to its roots. And you'll see she just has this beautiful, sort of serene, sophisticated aesthetic to her design. So the first collection she's designed for Free Spirit is called Flourish and Bloom, and it will be available in stores in March. And it's about nature's elegance and the intricate geometry of plants, which have always been a source of inspiration for Helen. Flourish and Bloom celebrates the nurturing power of gardens, their ability to thrive, transform, and burst into life. Through her signature clay to cloth process, she translates the essence of nature into tactile art. By drawing and imprinting motifs into soft clay, layering it with tinted slips and glazes, she creates a foundation that blossoms into dynamic, expressive textiles. This collection is a vibrant tribute to the rhythms and abundance of the natural world. So we're going to start in the upper left-hand corner like we always do. And the first design is called Starflower Dance. It's just so fine. The line work in the pattern is so fine. The color palette is really, while she talks about it being lush and vibrant, it's still really saturated, sophisticated, and soft. So it's definitely a contradictory within itself, but it's really beautiful. Below that, we've got small Flora Dora, which is just a really great little teeny tiny ditzy floral pattern that just sits in the background. It just feels really sophisticated. I could see it in a beautiful skirt. Obviously, it works beautifully as a low volume design in a quilt. To the right of that, we've got seeds. And below that, we've got the whispers, which almost feels like a really beautiful Liberty of London like design, what we call a ditzy in house. Really, really sweet. In the next column, we have Flourish and Bloom Garden, sort of the basis for the whole collection. Just beautiful bouquets of flowers on a really lovely, soft, grayish blue ground. Below that, we have seeds on that really beautiful purpley pink ground. And then to the right of that, we've got Little Meadow. Similar to the Whispers, but in a more multicolored option. Again, super dainty, really sweet. This entire collection is a little smaller scaled, which is definitely departure for free spirit. But what we found was it felt very modern, very new, but was a nod to the past. In the next column, we've got Peony, just a great all over packed tonal floral. Below that is Starflower. And again, this particular design, her fine line detail is amazing. And I have to say, we're so pleased with how we were able to articulate that on fabric. Really, really beautiful, very soft, very spring-like, would make a gorgeous spring quilt. And below that, we've got the Starflower Dance again in the warm color palette of the reds and oranges and pinks. And in our last column, we've got Bloomful Starburst, a great all over design. Again, it's the fine line work that she puts into every piece of art she creates that makes it so lovely. Below that is Bloom Check. So you've got this actual little ditzy design making up the horizontal and vertical grid lines, and then just a really sweet little partial flower interspersed and sort of meandering about. To the right of that, we've got the Flora Dance again, but this time in a cool color palette. Just really dainty, super pretty, really feminine. And last but not least, we've got the Flourish and Bloom Garden design again, but on a much more neutral ground. Slightly pink casted, but very neutral, very feminine. And again, great for apparel, great for decorating your guest bedroom or your master bedroom. Everything about it is really super beautiful. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sharon for inspiration.
Okay, so this first quilt is called the Tranquil Quilt. This is designed by Charisma Horton, and you can see all of the, the beautiful color that Debbie just described with all of the design elements from this collection. You can see, we've got the pinks in there or the mauve. There's a little bit of teal in there, but that teal center, that star in the center that you can see. Um, it's just it's got like the dusty little rose, the rose in it, and then that just fans out across the quilt, and it's really just very, very nice. We liked this quilt a lot. This particular quilt could be a block of the month if you wanted to do a block of the month for a shop, or if you just wanted to make this quilt, it's a beautiful traditional quilt as is. It looks like you've got an orange peel in there. There's a lot of different elements, a lot of different blocks in there, and we just thought that this was a lot of fun, and again, showcasing all of the beautiful SKUs from the collection. And they're all used in little places in there that just surprise you and, in different spots. But again, the quilt works together as one. The next quilt is called Floral Quilt, and this is designed by Color Girl Quilts. This just gives it a little bit more of a modern feel with that punch of blue in the background. That solid there, just really, you can see again, all the colors are working so beautifully together with this. We love the scale of it. As Debbie said, it's a little bit different for Free Spirit, but this quilt just looks so pretty. And with that blue in the background, it just changes the whole look of it compared to the first one. And then I think we have one more. Yes, we've got the Brickyard quilt. So both of these quilts are designed by Lisa Alley of Bear Hug Quilt Works. And what's interesting about these quilts is that each quilt only uses 5 SKUs or designs. And again, this is the same quilt, but we've got the blue one on the left and we've got the lighter pink orange one on the right. And they just look so completely different. But again, both quilts only use 5 SKUs. So that's very interesting because you could change them up. I mean, if you like these as is, you make them as is. If you wanted to change out a couple of SKUs because you like another design over another, you could just replace it. But, if you can't decide which of these beautiful 14 SKUs that you love, you can just go in and pick 5 and you can make a beautiful quilt, any version of these. So these quilts are just great. Again, you can see how well the collection is working with itself. So that is up. That is it. So that is it for today's presentation of Year of the Designer. All of these collections are coming and shipping in the month of March of 2026. If you saw anything here today that you love and you have to have, which we know is all of it, you should reach out to if you are a retailer, you should reach out to your local sales rep or you should come to the Free Spirit website. It's freespiritfabrics.com and you can place your order. If you are a maker and you saw some quilts and or just the fabrics that you absolutely love, make sure you reach out to your local quilt shop and let them know that you would like them to order it and that they need to get in touch with their sales rep. So we hope that we have inspired you yet again with another Year of the Designer offering here. And again, this is all shipping in March, and we thank you for joining us today.